Good morning, everyone. Can you talk fluently when you're by yourself? Or maybe you're 99% fluent when you're by yourself? If so, that's a really positive tool that you can use. Let's jump in to the question today that I saw on social media. Okay, it's a little bit long, so I'm just going to paraphrase. This person, this lady, she has a work event coming up, and she practiced by herself. She practiced saying her name, her department, and a couple of personal facts. Because when you have to introduce yourself at school or at work, often they say, hey, what's your name? Where do you live? What do you enjoy doing? She practiced that. So well done to this lady for practicing up front. That's awesome. Well done. She practiced for over a week without any struggle, and that's very normal. If you're a person who stutters or stammers, there's a high probability that you can talk fluently or quite fluently without a stutter or stammer when you're by yourself or when you're talking to a pot plant or a pet. Then on the day, she's severely blocked on almost every word in every conversation. Also very common to block on your name, block on where you live, block on your department, because you can't avoid those words. She says she couldn't say any of those words. She had practiced all week, and obviously very frustrating. She wasn't able to use any technique, and she just doesn't get it. She says, does practice make imperfect? And I want to stress, no, practice doesn't make imperfect. Practice is good, but you got to do it the right way, which we're going to jump into. She says that she's physically able to produce all the sounds, and that's wonderful news. That means you can overcome your stutter or stammer. I'm not saying 100% cure, but I'm saying you can overcome it to where it's not going to bother you. So why can't I do this? Then she says, I'm physically capable of producing all sounds and all words whenever alone. So why can't I do the same out in the real world? I only stutter when I have a listener. That's a little cruel stuff. There's a saying that says, stuttering loves an audience. Stuttering loves an audience. When you're by yourself, you don't stutter. As soon as you're out in the world and it's a bit more stressful, you stutter. So stuttering is a bit of a drama queen, wants an audience. Okay, great. Let's jump into this. Quite a bit to unpack. Stick with me. This could be the key to fluent speech for you. Okay, the first thing I want to say is this is excellent news. It is the best news to hear if you're a person who stutters and you can talk fluently by yourself, or when you're talking to your dog or talking to your pot plant. That is the best news you can possibly get. That means you can say the words. There are some cases, like for example, where maybe you've had some sort of a injury, a head injury, and you stutter all the time. It doesn't matter where you are, and that really requires assistance from different doctors and therapists. But if you can speak fluently or almost fluently when you're by yourself, that means that you are in a great spot, because you can transfer that fluency. So this is the key. If you can speak fluently when you're by yourself, you can transfer that fluency. How do you do it? You do it by going up the speech hierarchy. So what this lady was doing, the practicing was very good. But it's not enough to practice by yourself. That's the starting point. So step one, practice by yourself and use techniques. So for example, for me, I would say I am James. I'm going to block on the J. So I'm going to practice by myself, and I'm going to say, hi, I'm James. I'm from the IT department and I enjoy skiing. So I'm going to practice with soft contacts or prolongation or whatever technique you want to use by yourself first. I'm going to force that stutter. I'm going to stutter on purpose. I'm going to practice. Then, very important, I'm going to go to the next level. I'm going to go to a close family member or friend. And I'm going to just use those same words. Depending on who the person is, I might say, hey, I need to practice for work. I've got to say a short little speech, short little intro speech. Can I practice with you? They'll be like, sure. Practice with your friend or family member. And now, crucial, stutter on purpose with your friend or family member. You must stutter on purpose with your friend or family member so that you are getting used to that feeling, of a block, of a little bit of panic, and then use a technique. So, hi, I'm James from IT, and I like to ski. Good to meet you all. And do a smile. Okay, now practice with your friend or family member. Now you need to increase the stress more. You have to go up this hierarchy, step by step by step by step. The next thing you do is you go to maybe another friend who's maybe more of an acquaintance. You could say, hey, I need to just practice something quick. They might be open to it, they might not, because it's obviously not a close friend, but in my experience, most people are open to it, and you practice again. If you can't practice with someone like another friend or someone who's more of an acquaintance, you can just go out to the shops. That's a great place. You're going to feel more stress, more pressure. Now this is where it really counts. And you go to the shop and you say, hey, I'm James. You just introduce yourself. That's a normal thing to do, is to introduce yourself to a waiter or waitress, or to someone at the shops, or someone on the phone. Anyway, just use that opportunity to use the same words that you're going to say at your work function. Now practice it out in the real world. This is what I encourage this lady to do. You can't transfer fluency from being by yourself to a very high stress work situation in front of a whole pile of people. You can't transfer fluency. That gap is too big. You need to make it tiny little gaps, baby steps. You need 3 or 4 steps, and it'll blow your mind how well this works, how you can transfer your fluency from a low stress situation, for example, being by yourself, being with friends and family, being with an acquaintance, talking to someone at the shops, talking on the phone, and then finally, a week later or 2 weeks later, talking at work. You can't jump that big thing. I've tried it. It doesn't work. So, all the best to this person. Let me just check. I made a couple notes. Want to make sure I covered everything, because this is crucial. This is a key, guys. If you've got fluency when you're by yourself, that is such a blessing. You can totally transfer that fluency into all areas of your life, because I've done it. Let me just check that I covered everything I wanted to say. Okay, so what is your brain doing behind the scenes? So why does this happen? So when you're by yourself, you're calm, you're at peace. You're not anxious, and you're just talking. So there's no panic. You're not triggering any of the areas of your brain that handle stress or panic. You're calm, and as such, your speech 99% of the time will be calm, fluent. Then all of a sudden you jump to this other situation at work. Now everyone's looking at you. You have to say these words. You can't substitute your name. You're under pressure, and now you block on everything, and you can't use a technique. Okay. Just to say, yeah, that practice is very crucial, because you've got to rebuild that muscle memory. So your stutter is something that's come into your life over many years. It's not going to be cured. Or I don't like to say cured, because it's hard to cure a stutter 100%, but you're not going to achieve a high level of fluency quickly. You've got to transfer it bit by bit. Please let me know if this helps you. Check the comments. I'm really proud of this lady for practicing so much and for being willing to actually put herself there at work. And I believe that she can actually be fluent in those situations. All the best. Have a wonderful day. And please like this video. Please subscribe. There's plenty of people like this lady who's suffering, like maybe you are. So write a comment, like, share, subscribe. It's the only way to get the word out and to help people. Let me know how it goes in the comments. Chat to you guys later. Bye.